Hello. And we are live with another episode of the Rollwise podcast. Today, we are hoping to continue our adventures in Roshar as we hopefully conclude the introductory adventure Bridgenine for the Cosmere RPG beta that was available. So it's been pretty fun. I'm digging I'm digging the world so far, although I feel a tiny bit overwhelmed trying to learn everything I can about Roshar with the little tidbits are in a book. But I'm enjoying the game so far. I think it's been a lot of fun to figure this stuff out. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying it too. So,
Yeah, I had fun last week, so I'm looking forward to seeing if we can wrap it up, figure out what we got to do to find a conclusion.
yeah, hopefully it's not too crazy. But I think before we begin, I wanted to say thank you to everybody that stopped by and saw the first stream. You can see that earlier in the playlist, or if I've got that set up right, hopefully earlier in the playlist. So you can hopefully, if you haven't seen the first one and this is your first time watching the Cosmere live stream or any of our live streams, we have playlists for each of the games that we play. You can catch the first one, no problem. And of course, if you do like what you see here, you want to see other games played, jump in the comments, let us know what you like to see, let us know if you have a game you want to recommend. We're really open to playing most games. We are really trying to branch out from fantasy, but it feels like we've got a lot of fantasy games under our belt. Hopefully in the next month or two we get a lot more modern and sci-fi stuff in. But
also, if you're a new GM or an experienced GM and you want any tips or tricks or to hear kind of like how we handle things, go ahead and put those in the comments and we'll be looking at those for future episodes as well. I know we've been doing some GM tips episodes and they seem pretty popular, and a couple of people have asked some questions about GMing. So if you have any of those concerns, let us know. We'd love to hear them and talk about them with you guys.
Yeah. And also I thought this was kind of neat. You guys saw this in the last time that we had this. There was a comment, I think, of somebody who was thinking about running the game but hadn't had a chance or hadn't really run this before. Is that correct? Was there a comment like that, Brent?
There was, I believe.
Yeah. And so I think that the one thing I just wanted to say before we get on to the second adventure and kind of go that route is that if you are thinking of running a game and maybe Cosmere RPG is your first real incentive, because maybe you're a big Sanderson fan and you really like the Cosmere universe and you see that there's a role-playing game and you invest in the system for its collectability, as well as maybe you just want to give it a try. I just want to let anybody out there know that if this is their first time DMing, they have any kind of anxiety and all that kind of stuff for it. It can be a little bit stressful to do it. I'll tell you from firsthand experience that, we jump on this live stream and we run games. We have pretty much the amateur version of these games. We are not as polished as Critical Role and all that stuff. And there's still some times when that anxiety hits, but it just takes, getting in there, getting with a group of people that you're comfortable with and, giving it a try. You're probably going to mess up. Don't think you're going to be perfect that first time. You're going to mess up something. And I can already tell you in our post-game debrief, I have some little whoopsies that I'll share with you guys in our episode later this week. So
Mike likes to say amateur. I like to say realistic. I think our table is a lot more like home tables, and that's really kind of what we strive for. So, so yeah, don't be nervous. Like I said, or be nervous, but understand that as a GM, the most important thing is that you and your players are having fun. So if you have mistakes or whatever, it's not that big of a deal as long as everybody's happy. So
yeah, and don't feel like you have to be Critical Role on day one. If you aspire to be that
forever,
yeah, that's up to you. But don't feel that that's the standard you should live up to. And while we enjoy the game, we hope that we at least give you another example of how players who played the game for a while just like to play, even if sometimes we're not perfect. So. Okay, with that being said, I think we can go ahead and get started. So just as kind of a reminder as to how this game has gone so far, obviously you guys, the place is the Shattered Plains. You were part of a bridge crew that was trying to get her brightness, Elia Metal, to a set of archaeological ruins that seem to hold import because of their place in history. Unfortunately, there was a chasm fiend that decided to interrupt your plans and drug your bridge down to the bottom of one of the chasms. You narrowly escaped. However, your captain, unfortunately, has had basically other plans for how he was going to escape, and he decided that Captain Selenar was not exactly the most noble in his approach to saving any survivors from the bridge fall. So now you've made it to a place of relative safety, in so much as that it's a cave in the side of one of the chasms. You have had a chance to go to sleep and rest up for the night, and it is now early morning. I'm gonna go ahead.
And just to clarify for everybody, when he says bridge crew, because I didn't understand this at first until we started playing, when he says bridge crew, he literally means we're a crew of people carrying a bridge to span these chasms.
Yep. Yeah. Because the Shattered Plain, it's basically this broken area of land, it feels. And so the bridge crew, they carry these heavy bridges and they literally put them across, kind of like you would, like logistically allow you to travel between the plateaus so you could get from one place to another. And chasm fiends, for anybody that doesn't know, is a giant great shell, I think they're called. And it is, it's really scary, actually. It's the stuff of nightmares. I'll go ahead and put up an image as to what people kind of saw as they were trying to cross one of these sections. So I'll go ahead and put that up real super fast. Oops, that is not what they saw. That's what they're seeing right now. Ah, there it is. So that thing right there, that is not my.
That's the chasm, not the chasm fiend.
Yeah, what was up first was the chasm.
There we go.
Yeah, just a little bit of a delay. So now you guys can see what kind of monstrosity was chasing him through these narrow ways. And in order to escape, unfortunately, they lost one of the bridge crew. There might be. Yeah. Well, let's just say Varda the Spearman ensured that one of the other bridge crew was taken instead of the main group. But we'll leave it at that. So that being said, the morning, obviously you guys are in a cave in a chasm, being as though it's the, pretty deep from where you actually get sunlight. The, it's still relatively dark, even though it's the gray of morning. And I have to say that, it wasn't exactly a totally restful night. That there was Captain Selenar, he seemed to have gotten a fairly restful evening for whatever reason. Varda, he did offer to take watch on and off, as a spearman and kind of, to make sure that, no Kremlings or something like that snuck into your camp and did anything they shouldn't. But Durrell was really the main reason that it was harder to get some sleep. He seemed to struggle quite a bit, having had a broken leg in the fall. And his let's just say his cries of pain throughout the evening were enough to kind of keep people on edge. So in the morning, do you guys do anything before the party gets started?
We eat some rations and get ready to continue the trek. I think that's all I can think of.
Okay. So we're going to have a couple things happening here. The first thing is Jeff, Alaya is going to bring you over. She, as you guys are kind of getting your various preparations from the morning done and everything like that. And she's going to actually bring out I guess I would say she brings out like a hand-drawn map. And she's like, "Oh, my ward, I'm so sorry that we're in this position. I know it is. I know we're safe for now, but being in the bottom of these chasms is definitely very, very stressful. I do have this map, and I know that even though we're in this position, I feel like there's still so much more for you to learn. So I wonder, what do you think this map can tell you about our next approach?" And so she hands you kind of a hand-drawn map where you can see that the plateaus definitely don't seem to have the highest level of detail, but you can see that at one point there is a set of ruins to the northeast. The war camps and everything like that are to the west, and of course, you probably can imagine yourself somewhere in the middle there.
Based on that information, I mean, unless we can get out of the cab, I don't see how this helps us, Brightness, unless we can get out of the chasm. We have to find a way out, and I don't see anywhere on the map, you know, it doesn't matter where anything else is, if we can't get out of the bottom of the chasm.
So she says, well, that's true. And she's like, look closer here. From our current position, you can see that we have the war camps over to our west, right? You know, kind of waiting for your agreement.
Yes.
But also to the west is a chasm fiend. So there is a chance that we could go west and, of course, find ourselves in even worse peril than we are now. But according to these notes from the scout, and she kind of points to them, she says, there is a possibility that the temple itself, the original reason for this journey, actually extend into the chasm. Now, this could also be to sate my curiosity, but it could be our best way out. And what do you think?
If they do extend into the chasm, then there at least at one time was a way to get out of the chasm, or the chasms are so shattered that it's, you know, built on a hill or something. So it's certainly more information than we had before you showed me this map. We certainly can't go towards the chasm fiend. Did we ever decide if the cave had a back exit, or it definitely ends?
The cave was little more than just obviously it was like a creme had been dug out, and so while it was dug out, it's probably not the strongest structure in the side of the wall, but at the same time, since it's natural, at least it's had time to settle in this form.
So I agree with you. We can't head towards the chasm fiend. We have to go away from it and hope that we don't run into another, and see if we can find some way to climb out, before that. But if this does in fact run all the way to the ruins or near the ruins or something, I guess we'll find out. But if we find a way out before that, I don't think we'll be able to convince the group not to get out of the chasm.
And that's what I anticipate. But as you've seen, the walls of the chasm are very difficult to scale, and I fear that. And she kind of nods over at Doral that he would never be able to make that kind of journey.
I fear that the captain's going to try to execute him at the first chance he gets for slowing us down.
That is a distinct possibility. The captain's character has been made well known in this journey. That being said, could you see to Doral to see if there's anything you can do to alleviate his pain?
I will check on her brightness, and I mean, sort of, I don't know, bow, whatever you need to do to leave the presence of someone so dignified.
Sure.
And that over to whatever is acceptable to her. I'm sure it's an abbreviated version of anything that somebody would do more formally, but there is a fondness there, so I do try to show her respect.
Okay.
And
sure.
a time like this where propriety isn't exactly shouldn't be the priority, right?
Sure. Perfect. Yeah. So she nods, kind of dismissing you, kind of in the same fashion. And obviously, there's Bridgman Doral, who's, kind of, he's leaned up against the side of the cave, and you can tell he's kind of massaging his leg, trying to find some way to ease it. But even without inspecting it too closely, you do see a lot of swelling, a lot of bruising, and so looks like it's not in a great situation.
So when you come over, I'm trying to talk to him and kind of keep him comfortable as I try and get him ready for the fact that I'm going to have to help him wherever we're going, knowing I'm going to follow your guys' lead and not the captain's. So
I said, "Good morning, Doral. It seems like you made it through the night about as well as could be expected, given your injury. How are you feeling?"
He puts on a brave face, and he's kind of as he said before, he's like, we've been through some stuff, us Bridgenine, but whew, I think this might be the toughest one yet.
Well, it's a testament to your character that you've held up as well as you have. Given the loss of your comrades and the severity of your injury. But is there anything I can do to try to alleviate your pain or help out?
Well, I mean, there's a couple options we can take here. If you'd like, you can take a medicine test if you want to give that a try and see if there's anything you can do for his injury. But he doesn't know anything, and obviously he says, "Oh, I'm fine. It's really I've been in a similar situation before. I think."
Let me check your wound. I will be as gentle as I can, and I'll do a medicine check.
Okay.
now, is there some sort of assistance that I could do for his check?
I got a 17.
Wait, I can do something.
Sorry, I had already rolled, Brent. I
That's
shouldn't have
okay.
said anything. I'm sorry.
Well, I can spend a focus and use decisive command and help him through just encouragement. And he gets an extra d6 if it would help at this point. Are there degrees of success in this?
There are sometimes. It really depends on the style of roll that it is. In this case, with a medicine roll, it's more like a target number.
Okay.
However, decisive command, next take they may get test before the end of the next turn. So technically, this would have needed to happen before he rolled, but we can kind of retcon it to say that you did that. They can roll your command die, which is a D4, along with their other dice, and they can
add to it. But it's up to you if you don't want to do it because I was too slow. That's fine.
It's fine if you want to go ahead.
So it's a D4?
Yep.
Yes.
It's a 2, so it makes it a 19.
Okay. So, you can tell that the leg it's broken and it's not going to be healed with whatever you have here. Kind of scrounging the area to see if there's anything you can do to create some sort of way to comfort the leg or give him maybe a crutch to work with or something. You really don't find any way to lessen his pain or anything like that, other than you do tighten, basically you wrap it so that it's at least more comfortable.
At least kind of splinted.
Yeah, but you just didn't have the normal things that you would need to treat this kind of wound handy. So it gets as far as it can.
Okay.
So as you guys are treating as you're treating Doral, as soon as you see, what is her name, Zavinda, kind of starting to put the best impression of a splint on his broken leg. Captain Selenar does ask you to come over for a private conversation, Brad.
Yeah, I'll go over and talk to him.
And so he kind of takes you to the entrance to the cave and kind of looking out into the chasm.
I push him off. No, I'm kidding.
Falls 10 feet. Never curse you. He kind of looks at you and he says, "I could tell. You seem to maybe question some of the decisions that have been made up until now.
Your decisions have cost a senseless loss of life. So yes, I do believe your decisions were poor."
Well, at least I can't say that you're a sycophant. So he looks at you and he says, "Well, understanding our positions here and your obvious stature and your obvious beliefs about the current situation, I think we have some agreements that need to be made. The first agreement is that as your commanding officer, you need to remember that I'm to make it out of here alive. Doesn't matter what her brightness says. You need to keep the chain of command you need to keep me at the top of the chain of command. Doesn't matter what Spearman Varda says. Do you understand that?
I nod.
And he says, good, because I'm not so stupid to think that you would just go with it for no reason whatsoever. Because if I make it out of here alive, I promise to send you in the direction with a recommendation for you to have the possibility of getting your own promotion to sergeant. However, if you try to screw me in this, and I find some reason to believe that you're trying to kill me, injure me, or make sure that I do not make it out of this chasm, you will regret it, because I will make it out of this. And you'll find yourself wishing that you were polishing choll holes.
I assure you, Captain, I won't regret any decisions that I make. And then I walk away.
Fair enough. 1 second.
It's a shame I didn't hear that, or I might have a comment about it. I was too busy finishing the splint.
Yeah. So he sees you walk away, and he obviously isn't happy at your total. Isn't happy at your
disregard
of his requests. So okay. So with that being said, after you have a chance to put Doral's leg in the best equivalent of a splint as you possibly can, Spearman Varda and Captain Selenar, they do, they kind of are like, finally, let's go. And her brightness suggests, she kind of declares to the rest of the people that she believes that based on the reading of this map, there aren't too many plateaus that you would be able to find a way up without tremendous difficulty. And with the Chasm Fiend heading in the direction of the west, it means we can't make it to the war camps without tremendous peril. So she suggests that we transverse to the dig site in hopes that the temple, as it is, basically fallen into one of the chasms, or it has basically sunk effectively, that there is a way from the base of the temple to the top of the plateau, and that you guys can make it from there. But and you see at this point, Captain Selenar actually seems like he agrees with that situation, or that at least recommendation. And he acquiesces to her rightness, and he says, hey, if you believe that is the best way out, then we shall go.
Oh, I thought Selenar and Valda were going to bring back a Chasm Fiend head on their own.
I was going to say, they definitely weren't going to
How tough they were.
Well, if they'd have done that, they would have done that already, instead of trying to kill a wounded man and spearing another guy. So speaking of which, Spearman Varda is now Spearless Min Varda, because he threw his spear into the
so what does he have for weapons?
He didn't go back and see if it was still there. I mean, it can't be more than like 30 yards from the Narrows, right? He didn't stick his head out.
As soon as the Chasm Fiend came down, everything went up with it. It wasn't really
okay. That's fair. No, that's fair.
It wasn't really a lot of looking.
So I have a spear, and the captain has his sword, and that's it.
Correct. And of course, whatever weapons are littered between Zavinda and Alai.
Yeah, Zavinda has that pain thing, but I don't know if I know that or not. Brent knows that.
I'd say you'd seen me use a knife to help cut the bandages for the splint, the strips of cloth or whatever we use to bind the splint.
Yeah, but I don't think we think that's a real weapon.
You probably don't, but it's still a knife.
It's true. It's true.
Probably not a Crocodile Dundee knife.
Or maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe that's what we use for fire.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's what we use on Roshar.
So, needless to say,
we don't have short swords. We have knives.
Your inventory of weapons is fairly limited right now. So Varda obviously could use his 2 meaty fists. Zavinda has potentially at least a weapon for self-defense. Doral is unarmed seeming. He also has 2 fists, but a broken leg make it harder to use.
2 fixes.
That's pretty hard to find.
I got 2 fists and a broken leg.
You can see how that.
I'm ready for anything.
So in terms of like everyone agreeing at this point, Elia basically leads the way, kind of like she has her map out, kind of trying to use these hand-drawn images as best as she can to navigate between the different chasms and everything like that towards your destination. Just a second here. Okay, so, and as you guys are traveling through the chasms, they seem like they're kind of closing in a little bit. But something that you notice as you're going along is that you do run across a smell of death that's hanging in the damp air. You can see kind of along this section of wall, there are creeping vines. And they're pretty much just kind of like reaching into the ankle deep storm water. You can also see life spread. They're kind of like motes of green light hovering above the plants. But in addition to that, over in kind of like an area that seems like it's been carved out maybe by the wash of high storms, you see tiny red rot spread gathering. And it looks as though they're kind of coalescing and flying, buzzing about over 3 bodies lying in the water. They look like dead bodies at this point.
They look like, not mean all. Does that mean they aren't necessarily? Is that what you're trying to say?
Their positions look like they were, if they were choosing to be in this position, it would be very uncomfortable for any length of time.
Somebody should check out the bodies. We don't exactly have an overabundance of supplies.
So Selenar looks at you and Varda, and he says, he kind of nods and says, "See what's over there."
Oh, he sends both of us? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel better about that. They sent both of us and not just me. So yeah, we both. I'll go with Varda over, and we'll go check out the bodies.
Okay.
I let Varda actually check the bodies, and I stand back so I can, if anything happens, I can stab it with my spear.
Okay. So as you approach the bodies, the creeping vines, as soon as you touch the water where they're in, they kind of like retract back, and you can see 3 bodies. The first body that Varda looks at is a soldier in a blue uniform with a rusted breastplate. You can see that the corpse is kind of it's decomposed beyond any kind of recognition. Like, you can't tell who they were. However, around their neck, it seems as though there's a carved wooden axe hound that is still in place. Varda looks and he kind of like checks for pouches and everything like that. And you can see that he kind of like opens up and he kind of like looks at you before like taking a pouch and kind of trying to like put it in his.
I tell him I don't care if he takes the money. Do they have anything useful?
You can say that the marks would probably be useful, and it seems like that was a pouch of money. You might be able to, hypothetically.
I'm fine with him taking the money. I just shake my head.
So he kind of like he tries to do it in a way that is obviously like stealthy. Like, I don't want Captain Selenar to see this.
And that's what I tell him. I said we'll keep it our secret against Selenar.
He raises an eyebrow but agrees. You might, however, be able to suggest that the carved wooden axe hound, it does look distinct enough that it might be able to be used to identify someone if anybody might know it. But other than that, this soldier doesn't really have anything.
So is it like, would we know it's like dog tag, like modern?
This doesn't look like it's dog tags. It does look.
It's not like personal identifiers. It's like we could tell where they're from.
No, this one isn't. It looks more decorative than anything. Oh, okay. Yeah. The next person he kind of moves over to, as he seems like he's kind of surveyed the 3 bodies, and he moves to what looks to be like a bridgeman, kind of similar to what you've seen. He has, in this case, a ruined leather vest as opposed to a breastplate. Kind of as he's tapping him, he kind of goes through. He doesn't seem as though he sees anything. And then the last one, he kind of like quickly pushes over, actually look like the red bones of a long dead Parshindi warrior. You can see like he kind of like pushes at it, and you can tell that the warrior's carapace they still look pretty strong. And so like he kind of pushes it over, but you can definitely tell the warrior has expired.
So as he's kind of looking through the bodies, one of the things I tell him is, you realize that Selenar will sacrifice you and all of us to get out of here, right?
He's like, yeah, the captain has treated me really good up until this point. I mean,
well, he may have treated you really good up until this point, but we're in a situation where he very well might not. So we'll keep the money between you and me, but you remember that if it comes down to it.
he nods. So, so at this point, as you guys are kind of looking over there, just as kind of like maybe for you guys, I don't know, I'm sure people who know more about this, the Parshendi they're the kind of the listeners culture within the singers. And that's basically the ones that have kind of the almost similar kind of crab-like carapace on their body. You guys would know that there are frequent clashes between the Parshendi with the Alethi armies, which is probably why these bodies kind of came down together. They might have been, have clashed in battle on one of the plateaus. And
so the two guys are Alethi then.
They look, well, you can't really tell, but they look like they're probably Alethi based on what the remnants of their clothes are.
The uniforms, okay.
Yeah.
I just was mostly trying to verify something didn't drag any of ours in here as one of the things, but they don't have anything else useful. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, you could obviously search them yourself, but Varda didn't seem to reveal anything.
So what I tell him is, no, I trust that he searched the bodies. If he found the money, I feel like he searched the bodies well enough to find something useful. The only other thing I ask him is, can you tell what killed them? Like, do those look like they died fighting each other, or does it look like something down here killed them?
He goes and he's like, I don't know enough about the Parshendi to say what exactly killed this, other than maybe a fall. But these bodies are too far gone. I mean,
I thank him and say, okay, well, let's head back, and we should be safe. It seems like we might be pretty okay to walk past them then.
I call out and say that Brightness Matal asks if there's any personal effects on the bodies that can be returned to their families.
I reach down and I take the Houndstooth necklace.
Okay. It pops off. It's kind of leather strap that holds it on. And so during this time, kind of as they're searching it, Captain Selenar is kind of standing up ahead towards the way that you're heading. You and Brightness Matal are kind of standing back, and
so I hand you the personal effect as soon as we get back. I say,
this is going to happen beforehand.
Oh, okay.
So as that's kind of happening, Doro kind of looks over at you, Zabinda, and he kind of whispers, and he's like, and he kind of tries to get your attention.
I turn and go over to him. Is something wrong?
He's like, I saw how Captain Selenar looked at me before that chasm fiend came back. I mean, everybody at the war camps thinks we're dead. And if there's a chance, if there's a chance for me to get out of here, I know I'm not in the best of shape. Could you help me get out of here? I don't want to be, I mean, I've been working for these bridge crews for so many years, and the way the captain has bloodlust in his eyes, I can't do this anymore.
I put my hand on his shoulder and I say, we will do everything, Brightness Matal and myself, to make sure that you get out of here alive.
I don't want to just get out of here. I want to escape. I want to be free.
As you know, that part is out of my control, but maybe I can talk with Brightness Matal and see if there's something that could be done. If I get a private moment with her, I will talk to her.
He's like, that's all I ask. I don't want to go back to the camps to have my wounds treated and then get put on another bridge crew where Captain Selenar steps on me again to escape one of these chasms. But thank you for hearing me out. And if the opportunity presents itself, please find it in your heart. And they let you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have a moment, I try to relay the gist of that to Brightness Metal. But if we don't have time, it'll be then sometime when we stop.
Okay. Yeah. So basically it does continue. I mean, obviously, the caverns or the chasms themselves wind pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and share an image of this area. I think this is the images that they have in the book are just so much fun that I thought I would continue to share those for you guys, just so you have kind of a backdrop for these kind of things. But yeah, so you still have a little bit longer to hike through these the chasms before you get to your destination. So there's a chance. So if you make a concerted effort to fall back with Brightness Metal, you could easily talk with her privately before you get there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it takes long, but yeah, the first chance I get to relay it, I would definitely talk to her.
Okay.
And I'll tell her that I promised that he would get out of here alive, but that I couldn't make any promises about, his time in the camps. That's out of my control. But I let her know that I told him that I would talk with her if anybody knew something could be done. I thought it might be her. So.
Well, she nods and she takes in the information. She doesn't make any promises, but there may be an opportunity that arises between now and when they get back to the war camps, or maybe she can abdicate on his behalf to change his position a little bit. Okay, so without further ado, as you guys kind of round another bend, not too far from the decaying bodies, where you found the decaying bodies, you notice that the chasm widens up a little bit. So I'm going to share my screen.
Hopefully. I look like a face to you, Brent.
It does look kind of like a face.
Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
It just hit me. I just glanced up, and it's like 2 eyes and a mouth. That's
it's a rather haunting
there yeah.
It's a rather haunting image, which is really why I like it. So the chasm is actually pretty wide here, and the walls don't seem quite as high. The floor of the canyon is dry with fewer plants, and broken stone litters the ground. The stone looks like it was broken fairly recently, as it is not worn smooth like the rest of the chasm. You can see that as you can tell, there's actually the perspective that you can look at here. Is you can see, where you would be looking up from. It's actually, you have to look up to get to it, but embedded in the canyon wall, once hidden behind what looks to be a layer of stone and creme, a forgotten structure is now half revealed. Its lower level begins about 30 feet above the chasm floor, where columns flank an open doorway. Another 20 feet above that is an upper level, but strangely, that portion of the structure appears to be completely on its side. It's as if the building tumbled into the chasm and was frozen in the stone. This structure, an ancient shrine, has been hidden for thousands of years. During the cataclysmic event that created the Shattered Plains, the structure seems to have collapsed. Over the millennia, it was sealed by layers of creme. So, basically, it looks like your way forward is there's enough of the dirt that's fallen down from the openings that were created that it does have actually what looks to be a rough walkway that you could take to get to that first pillared section if you wanted to go that way.
Yeah, I think that's the way that we go.
Okay.
As she leads, I mean, doesn't look too bad. Like it's going to be too hard to make it up there.
So at this point, Selenar suggests you and Varda make the first trip up.
Sure.
Okay. Can you make an athletics check?
Yes, I can. That's just +4, right?
Let me see. Athletics is 4, yeah. +4 for you.
17.
Okay. So you can definitely tell that even though it looks fairly easy to walk up, it does seem as though the creme hasn't fully settled, meaning that there are parts that are potentially dangerous if you were to make the wrong step, because you could slip and all those kind of things. That being said, it doesn't look as though there's any other overt danger or anything like that. And Selenar impatiently yells up to you, "Do you see anything?"
I wait for Var to answer.
Kind of as he gets to the top, he says, "No, sir. So far, it looks like the coast is clear, but it's dark inside the temple."
Then I add, it's also not an easy walk.
You can hear Captain Selenar at the ground floor. Why don't you guys go ahead, Jeff? If you can help make your way up there with Doral. Why don't you go ahead and roll an athletics check for me as well?
I guess I got to use athletics if I'm helping him, right? I can't use agility.
And if you can't, I'll spend another thing of focus and yell encouragement so they can.
Okay. I take his encouragement. I got a 24. I got a 19 plus 1 on the first roll and a 4 on the second, so it's a 24.
Okay. All right. You see that as you make your way up, you're able to carry Doral up. It does feel, you know how when you're walking on those hills that have just enough loose dirt on the surface that it's kind of slippery. You kind of experience that in parts as you're trying to make your way up this rougher terrain. But you're able to navigate it no problem, even with Doral kind of like helping him up the way.
Yeah, I take my time knowing that I'm trying to help him.
And I kind of watch over them and yell like, good spots, bad spot, kind of tell them to watch their footing as they're coming up.
Okay. And you guys are able to make it up there. The same with Captain Selenar and Brightness Baton.
Darn.
He falls down, breaks his neck. That's what you wanted me to say, Brent? Is it?
That would be easier.
That would be easier. That's fair.
My guess is he'd have to roll a 65 on a d20 or a negative 60.
Negative 60, something like that. Okay. So basically, as you get to this thing, it does look as though it's like a shrine, an ancient shrine or something like that. However, again, because there's no real natural light inside, it is incredibly dark, meaning that if you tried to navigate through this blind, it would be potentially very dangerous. Do you guys have any light sources?
Not according to my character sheet.
Nope.
Okay. Now, this is where it gets to be interesting. So, do you guys have any money, infused light sources? That's what's always interesting. I don't know if I saw that.
I have 10 spheres. Is that money?
Yeah,
that's money, right?
I have 6 spheres.
Wonder if it's considered infused. It doesn't really say on your sheet if they're.
Well,
I'm not understanding the difference.
Well, one gives off light apparently. So the issue here is, did they write the scenario so we can actually go in there, or did they write the scenario so we can't?
Well, they wrote it so you can. So basically, what you can say is that, like, your marks, if they're infused with storm light, they actually have a small amount of light that they got. So if you can take
mine, I can use mine to recharge my pain rail.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that since I haven't done that yet, I'm assuming they still have that charge.
Yeah,
that mine do at least.
So basically, with one of these spheres, you can provide yourself about 5 foot radius or a single mark can provide that. However, if you're able to find that if you have a handful, you can get about 10 feet of light. So you just can't hold on to enough of them to create so much light that you can fully light the interior.
Sure.
But we can see well enough to where we feel like we can go in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As opposed to me putting my spear out and tapping around in the dark.
Well, I have to believe that most of the people have some, whether right? Everybody should have their own.
Most people have to roll
other than maybe Doral.
How many do we have to have in our hand to cast light?
Well, you would just have one, and it wouldn't be cast. You would just hold it out. It'd be like
right, but like if we hold a handful, like what constitutes
two or three?
2, 3, all 10. Do I have to like walk around like this in the
old hands cup? I mean, I'll leave that up to you, but I'd say probably three or four would do it.
Okay, so I'll have 3 in my hand and kind of try and lead the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll follow behind, I guess, or somebody should follow behind. But I've got Doral with me.
Yeah, you take care of Doral, and it'll probably be Varlin. What's his name? Varda with me. And if he has any, he can shed some light too. I'm not gonna.
I don't know that he has any, but you know that he has some.
I'm not gonna give him any of mine because he'll keep them.
Just extra payment, gents. That's nothing big.
I'll give him one of mine just so he has light if he says he doesn't have any, and I'll shake my head.
He doesn't. He sees you guys pulling out your marks, and he pulls out a mark too to show.
Then I put it back.
And I'm sure the captain has some.
Yeah,
shown up by Mir.
Well, he's letting you guys light the way. He wants to make sure both of his hands are free in case there's anything he needs to worry about.
Okay.
And so, getting to the, like, as you get inside a little bit, okay. So as you guys notice, the structure is carved in a fairly unfamiliar style, but it is clearly ancient. The columns that once supported the structure are still intact, and they all lean to one side. Now that you have your light sources, you can, as you kind of enter the room, you can see that the rubble litters the room, and dust covers every surface. The floor is uneven, and it lists to one side. The walls are decorated with elegant carvings, and you can see brightly colored cremlings crawling out of cracks in the wall, and then they skitter away. The only path out of the room seems to be a stone stairway that leads up.
Well, up is good. That's where we want to go.
Yeah. I say we head up.
So yeah, I lead the way.
Obviously, Brightness Metal lingers a moment. Looking at the mosaics and everything like that.
Well, this is what she wanted. This is where she wanted to be, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, did we just lose Jeff?
We apparently did lose Jeff.
Jeff, no.
He's returned.
Sorry.
Okay. So Brightness Metal suggests before going too far, she would like to get your impressions on the mosaics that you see here. Obviously, to the disgruntled of Captain Selenar, as he kind of mutters under his breath, "We don't have time for this." So
so I look, I give her my impressions of something that I can't see.
Give her your impressions of something you can't see?
Yeah. Oh, they look very old and dusty. In
this case,
I don't have a picture to operate off of. I don't.
It's true. And I don't have a picture to operate off of.
Right. Either, so yeah.
Could you go ahead and roll for me a lore check?
floor. That I can do. I did very badly. I got a 6. It was a natural 1 plus 5.
Oh, complication. So basically, as you go up to kind of examine the mosaics, you can, you get awfully close because obviously you don't have a lot of light that your marks are providing. You're getting as close as you can to kind of to read what it is, and you can. I mean, really, all you can tell from the faded mosaic is that it seems that this is a shrine of some sort. You really can't tell much more than that. However, it does seem as though as you get closer and as you take your time, like studying the mosaics and everything like that, you can see that the crumblings that kind of were crawling in and out of the cracks in the walls are getting incredibly agitated at your presence. And at this point, Doral kind of, loudly whispers in your direction. He says, I think those yellow and red ones are poisonous.
I jump back at poisonous.
Yeah, as you jump back, he's like, I think a bite or two ain't gonna hurt, but I think there's a lot in that wall there.
Yeah, I step back and tell Brightness Matal that it's hard to see anything, and the Kremlings crawling all over, make it challenging. Probably need to come back with more people and more light.
Yeah. Well, she says, well, I understand. Well, and she kind of uses this moment to teach you, her ward a little bit about archaeology, since it seems like you weren't able to glean as much from it. And she kind of goes, and she, like, not getting very close, obviously sensing the Kremlin's agitation. She, kind of points at certain things, and she talks about how this is indicative of, art dating all the way back to a cataclysmic era known as the Desolations. And what these symbols right here, and this is for your education, kind of, she seems to indicate that this has a connection to a legendary order that has now been kind of known as the Lost Radiance. She points to a symbol on the floor, and she kind of says, like, for example, this is the double eye of the Almighty, and these heroic knights, Radiance being like the people that, and she kind of goes into an explanation as to what the Radiance were. Is obviously you make your way towards the stairs and everything like that. So she's doing her job as your.
I thank her for the lesson and tell her that I will have to read up on that when I get back to the library.
Yeah, and she regrets that she's not able to stay and study this a lot more, because it does look as though there's a lot of fascinating symbols and imagery here that could be very helpful for her studies in history. But she, with a kind of a dejected sigh, she moves forward towards the stairs. And so the stairway itself doesn't look too intimidating. But what you can see that as you guys are looking up these stone stairs, you see a number of barnacle-like shaped objects that kind of seem like they've been kind of plastered to these stone surfaces. And I think I have the image here so you can kind of get an idea as to what it looks like. 1 second. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, that's... Hey. 1 second. That's weird.
I'm like, that's very dark.
Yeah, but we can. I mean, it's dark going up there. That looks like it makes sense.
It's a little bit different than what I seem to have there for some reason. I don't know exactly what happened. 1 second. Please hold.
Hold, please.
That's better. Just a second here. This is technology at work. And okay, that's better. For some reason, I only had the topmost part where the dark hallway was, and I was like, "Well, that's super intimidating as a dark hallway, but obviously not very illustrative of any barnacle-like shape." So,
well, you can kind of see them.
There was one or two, yeah. There's more here.
So obviously, as you guys are looking up the stairway, you can see these various barnacle-like shapes that are pretty much everywhere on the stairs. Do either of you have the biology expertise? I don't recall.
I would not.
I don't see anything that says biology on my sheet.
Nope.
Okay. So
it's an expertise under what skill?
Well, so under the expertise section of your character sheet, there's so for example, you have like a Lethe and listener expertise, then you have the expertise in the long spear. So those are just those are the expertise you currently have. I just checked.
No, I have archaeology, equipment crafting, and history.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
So the answer is no. Negatory.
So, negatory. Why don't you, Jeff, go ahead and make a deduction test?
Okay. Ooh, it's another 6.
Oh, wow.
Same as the last one, a natural 1 and +5. So it's a 6.
You find out.
I rolled a 17.
So, wow. So Jeff is on the natural 1 train. So Brent, as he's going in to check to see what these are, it seems as though maybe it's just a low light or something like that. But Jeff is definitely going in way too close to everything. And you can pretty much tell that these are crumbling nests that are littered all the way up these staircases here. And so as you know, before you can say anything though, it does seem as though Jeff in his move towards going to one accidentally crushes another crumbling nest. And you can see kind of some of the crumblings obviously agitated, skittering about. And these are the yellow and red ones. And you can see Selenar just curse under his breath. He's like, I cannot believe I'm here with these people. Useless, every one of them. And he kind of goes over to Varda and he goes over to you, Palinor, and he says, scout the stairs. Tell us what's up there. See what we can find.
Okay. I was probably already ready to go up the stairs anyways. So, yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and roll for me. You know, as you're going up there, go ahead and roll an agility test.
Oh, the one I'm bad at.
Do you have the parkour skill?
I rolled a 6.
Okay. It does seem as though basically you're making your way through, but it's like one of those things where there's just sometimes not enough space to get by a crumbling nest, and you pretty much, as you're going up, you crush another nest, and you hear the agitation. You actually hear the agitation from the crumblings coming from the other nests at this point. But you do make your way to the top of you make your way up to the point of the stairs where you actually see less of these crumbling nests.
Okay.
Varda makes it up, and he yells, "There's just a lot of these nests, sir."
Yeah. Just be careful coming up. That's all I say.
Okay. So, do you want to go ahead and roll for me an agility test, Jeff?
Not really.
No.
Oh, okay.
I might be content to stay down here for just a bit.
Is that an automatic success or an automatic fail?
I don't know. What do you guys want it to be?
I got an 18 on the agility test.
Okay. You seem to be much more able to go up, and you're able to find footing, and you're a little bit more creative than it looks like your companion was. It seems as though you're able to get to the same place that he was without any issue. Let me go ahead and do this. Yeah. So 1 second. Huh. Neat. I apologize. One moment.
No problem.
Huh. There it is. Okay, so as you guys are making your way through, it does seem as though, after he sees Zavinda go up, Captain Selenar goes to make an attempt to make it up himself, but he crushes another one of the nests. And as you guys are watching kind of from the top of the stairs, you can kind of hear him go, shit, 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 as what appears to be a small swarm of crumlings go and attack the offending foot. So what is your initial reaction to this?
Oh, damn. That's awful. I would try to help him. I would call out. We have to help him.
I'm scouting around up at the top of the stairs, so I didn't hear anything.
Oh, darn. Okay.
Varda can go help him if he wants.
Okay, so
yeah, if Palinor's not there, I would be urging Varda to help him, to help out his captain.
Okay, sure.
And
so
just as a member of the party, we're kind of all in this together. We've lost so many people already.
Okay, so in this case, do you go down to help, or do you just see?
I think if you crowd the stairway, we're more likely to disturb more. So maybe one person trying to help Palinor might be better than.
You mean
Selenar? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I was just wondering when I started.
No, that was the correct correction. I was wrong.
I was like, oh my god, I'm being attacked.
Okay.
We haven't gotten to that part yet.
All right. Having, kind of from behind you, Varda appears to go down and attempt to help Captain Selenar. And obviously at the bottom of the stairs, kind of trying to stay out of it, are Brightness Matal and God, I got my names all mixed up. And Doral. Yep. So unless you attempt to join in, I'm just going to roll a couple dice over here on my own for just like a second to see if there's anything major that happens.
Have fun rolling dice for yourself.
It's a little weird. I'm just trying to see if there's anything.
I mean, I can shout encouragement, but I don't know if I actually have a skill that can contribute.
You can shout encouragement, but you don't know if you have a skill that can contribute. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I don't have a skill that can contribute.
You can shout encouragement, but it won't actually do anything like mine does mechanically.
Okay. So basically what you see is a is quite the quite the scene. From the top of the stairs, you see Varda and Captain Selenar kind of like trying to fight off the swarm. Obviously Varda is just kind of like doing whatever he can. But these the like Kremlings, they seem like they're stinging, they seem like they're biting and stuff like that. And between the two of them, it looks as though they got a bit of they got a little bit of the business from the swarm. It doesn't take too long though before the swarm kind of like just there's enough of them dead or dying on the ground that they kind of go back into their various nests and everything like that. And you hear Captain Selenar roar up at you for just standing there. And of course, he's also really mad at Palinor for also standing there.
I wasn't at the top of the stairs.
Yeah,
I was scouting around.
Wasn't there.
I was scouting around.
He doesn't know that, but I'm just saying he thinks that you should have obviously been there for him.
Too many. I called back down. Too many of us on the stairs would have brought more.
He yells at you some various explicatives of varying colors. Like let's go S tier for a couple of them, A tier for another couple of them.
Yeah, I sent Varda down to help you.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to fly so much. Let's see. So as they make their way to the top, you can see that Varda is like, he looks a little bit dizzy. And it looks like he's kind of he's kind of like having to hold himself up, and there's it looks like it's like lots of cuts and little stings and stuff like that where his skin is swollen and everything. And the same thing with Captain Selenar. Like he, obviously his hands and like his near his face, and he's got lots of little spots where it seems as though the Kremlings poked through kind of his clothing and stuff like that. But as he gets to the top, he pretty much yells at you, Palinor, and he says, "What the," kind of like that. "What the fuck were you doing? Why weren't you down there?"
I was scouting the top of the stairs like you ordered me to, sir. That Varda was stayed at the top of the stairs and came back to help. I was out scouting the top of the stairs.
And he kind of looks at you and he's like, I told you what would happen. When we get out of here, you can kiss any chance of advancement in the army goodbye. It's gone. It's gone.
And I kind of look at Varda and then go back about scouting.
Yeah, he continues to yell at you, not like kind of licking his wounds, because he got injured by those Kremlings.
Can I perform a medicine check on Varda?
Yeah, if you want to.
Since he very bravely went down.
Yeah.
Uh, 19 for Varda.
Okay. Let's see.
Are these anything like jellyfish stings? Do they need to pee on it?
I don't think peeing on jellyfish stings works.
It doesn't, actually.
It does if somebody with medical knowledge says it does.
It does if somebody with medical knowledge
authoritatively enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that worked, but there was definitely a
That seems like a beach practical joke to me. That's what that seems to me.
well, I think for a while there was people like there was just it seemed like everywhere I was at they were like, oh, you should pee on the jellyfish, and then it was just like, whoa, we actually tried that, doesn't work. So
There's a rumor that like ammonia helped or something. So yeah, I don't know, but I think they've since proven that no, it is not. Mythbusters may even done an episode about that and prove that it was wrong.
okay, yeah, you can tell that he's got a lot of little stings and everything like that. You know, but it does seem as though if you want to truly help him for this period of time, what you'll need to do is you'll need to it'll take quite a while to tend to his wounds for any length of time. And it does seem as though Captain Selenar sees you trying to tend to his wounds, and he's raging right now. He says, "We don't have time for that. Get up, Varda, get up."
Oh, okay. I was gonna suggest you tend to Varda or the captain's wounds
Captain,
too,
I was going to tend to you next. You know, while we wait for Brightness Metal and Doral to carefully make their way up the stairs.
I feel like I should yell from the background. He's right. We don't have time for this, but I
don't. That's pretty good. So do you still try to suggest to him that
I basically just offered to check his wounds. If he says no, that's his choice. Not that I was able to do much for Varda, but
well, so if you're okay, so like as soon as Brightness Metal gets up there, she does calm Captain Selenar down. And it does seem as though she suggests to the captain that he needs to have his wounds tended to and everything like that. So in that scenario, what's your medicine modifier?
4.
Okay.
What did I actually since we're all seem to be taking a break here? What did I find around the stairs? There's nothing dangerous up here, right?
Oh, we'll find. I was kidding.
Chasm Fiend nest.
I was. That's why I was kind of looking around. As if we could stop here now, I would like to at least make sure that the perimeter is secure.
Oh, sure. Okay, 1 second. So, and what was your medicine?
+4.
+4.
Okay. Or do you want me to actually roll it yet?
No. That's fine.
Yet.
So resting works a little bit differently when you're doing that, because you just basically, if you tend to others, it doesn't seem as though there's any kind of restriction on the amount of tending you can do during a short rest. But that allows them to roll the recovery die, which is based on their willpower. And then once they roll the recovery die, they get that amount back. Plus your business there. But then of course they can either do like HP and a focus, or like, so if you roll a 5 on your recovery die, you might choose to recover 3 health and 2 focus. So you can actually choose how you recover.
Oh, okay. So you can get focus back as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
But it's all based on your recovery die. So a short rest is kind of it can be a little bit of a crapshoot depending on how it goes. Okay.
So are we officially resting then? Is that what we're doing?
That would probably be how they're gonna do any amount of healing to Varda and Captain.
So can I get my 2 focus back then?
If you choose to rest, yeah.
Okay. I will scout around. If it seems safe, there's less nests up here and everything. I will let us rest.
Okay. So you find that this floor, it seems as though, like, as you get to the top, you can tell that this level of the shrine lays completely on its side. What was once the floor is now the wall, with the former ceiling now being another wall. The columns, broken from their pedestal, have collapsed to the new floor. But what's really important about this room is that you can see the statue of what looks like a shard bearer. Once it would have probably stood about 15 foot tall, but now it lays against the floor like a fallen warrior. In its pedestal, though, however, you can see that there are 7 glyphs carved in at the feet. So that's pretty much the main thing that you see here. Obviously, you see some murals and stuff like that as well.
I just want to report back that it's safe. It looks like that everything on this level is turned on its side, but we should be safe here to rest for a little bit.
After I treat them and Doral, Brightness Metal and I would probably be looking at the glyphs and talking and,
And before anybody moves off, I report to the captain that I've secured the perimeter.
He gives you an angry glare, like not even an acknowledgement that you've said anything, but basically the glare of someone who's just like, you're so fucked. Yep. Okay. Right. So to get to you, okay, so basically, as you and Brightness Metal kind of like look at this room and everything like that, that obviously the most important, most interesting thing here is the statue and the pedestal. Inspecting the statue, you can see that the figure itself was wearing quite an impressive set of shard plate, and it's actually a woman that's wearing the shard plate. And so, having, being is that gender roles in Roshar are a little bit odd. That for some people that might seem a little bit weird.
All the best shard bearers are female.
Are they?
Yes. I have no idea.
that may be canon. We don't know. But it is based on gender roles in Roshar. It would be weird to see this type of thing. You do see, however, on the pedestal below the statue, carved in kind of an archaic style, are glyphs that are arrayed in a pattern. Let me go ahead and see this here. Well, where am I at? Okay. There we go. So this is basically the these are the glyphs that you see on the base of the pedestal. So in terms of so at this point, Brightness Metal, kind of getting the sense of discovery and everything, she does kind of hold back her excitement and everything as she looks to you and she's like, what do you see, young ward?
So is this a lore check?
Let's see. Well, so tell me exactly, like in your mind's eye, how would you approach these glyphs and kind of understanding them?
My guess is that they have some meaning. Based on, I can't tell from the lines connecting, what that is, but I don't know. In my head, this wouldn't be all that uncommon. This would be something that would have been recorded and known somewhere in a book. But I have no idea. There's 7 of them, 6 of them rotating around one. I don't know, like just as me, what they would imply. I don't know if they're elements or they represent different people or.
Sure. So
I just don't know.
So the first thing that you would do is you would try to look and maybe try to see if the glyphs are familiar to your character.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and how do you go about that? You just kind of go up to the glyphs.
I would go up to them, and hold up my light source.
Okay.
And kind of take in the whole, and then examine each of the smaller circles, and then probably notice that the things connecting the outer circles to the inner circle were all different on all 6.
Okay.
I would probably study the things in the circles first, and then the connectors. But yeah, this,
sure,
I guess, it has some meaning, but
So what's interesting is that as soon as you hold your light up to the circles and everything like that, you see that the kind of your sphere, it like you can actually see the storm light is like sucked from your sphere into the glyph, and you can tell that it seems like it's infused the entire panel of glyphs, and they glow ever so slightly. Right now, however, your spheres are now inert, done. So now they're no longer useful as light, though. But do you want to roll for me a lore check with advantage?
Okay. Uh, 16.
Okay.
You rolled another one the first time, though.
I did. I rolled
That
another
is-
one.
that
The third
is
one of the
horrible.
evening.
You're rolling like me.
It's hard to have an adventure when you're like, I critically failed
I did
the
get a
entire
16.
way.
Yeah, I did get a 16 on the second
Phew.
one.
Okay, so basically, as you attempt to look at the glyphs, you've seen these glyphs before. So even though they're in an archaic style, you have enough knowledge of these to say, "Oh, I know what these mean," because they're basically representation of ideals. You see that one of the glyphs means life, strength, journey, death, weakness, and destination. And then the center glyph, that one seems to be representative of before, the word before, not like a principle or anything like that.
So yeah, I would pass that information along to Brightness Matal.
Okay. What else? How else are you examining these glyphs?
I would probably look to her and say, "Do you think it's all right if I, examine them physically, touch them?"
Well, we may not get the chance again, so I would say
Sure, go ahead.
investigate how you see fit, being as gentle as possible.
Yeah, obviously being gentle. So I would probably go over and see if, starting up at the top, see if anything, pushes or maybe twists, or, trace the outer. I mean, do the outlines kind of glow? It looks like there's a cutaway there, kind of. I don't, like how they're carved, the circles. Yeah, I would probably try to push or twist.
Okay. So as you get close and as you kind of like feel them, roll for me a perception check.
Perception. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And as you kind of are touching it, what you notice is that you can actually see kind of come from...
I crit success if that exists in this system. I got a 20 plus 2, so 22.
It does. So what you see as this is all happening and as you're going through this, you actually see what looks to be a tiny light spread. Kind of a comet shoots around and kind of makes itself manifest. Like you couldn't see it, then all of a sudden it makes itself manifest as it kind of swirls around your head and kind of like plays in the circles and everything like that. What you notice is that you see that the like as you're examining the different glyphs and everything like that, you see that each of the stone glyphs is weathered. But you know how when you see like kind of a brass statue and somebody's touched it, like that part of the brass stays, or bronze, maybe that's what I'm thinking, bronze or brass, I can't remember, but it stays like
brass
clean.
I think they both. I think they both will.
It's usually bronze
sort of
statues,
polish.
Yes,
Yeah.
it shows like a certain amount of polish. Even though so in this case the stone, you can kind of see what actually look like. It actually looks like people trace, like it's super smooth, and when you run your finger across it, you can actually feel like it's a perfect groove for your finger to go around each of the glyphs and everything like that. And as you kind of like start to trace it, you see the light spread kind of dancing around your finger and everything. How else are you going to examine this these glyphs here?
I can't get a light source too close to it. It's going to drain more of the. Varda, do you have any? Do you have any credits that you can hold up? Any spheres?
I believe that's using meta knowledge.
I can ask him.
Yeah,
I'd ask Selenar, but he doesn't feel. I don't feel like he'd stand there with his arm out for me.
Varda comes over with the sphere that he has in his hand, and he's kind of like, and because obviously receptive to the treatment that you gave him earlier, kind of like, gives it to you gingerly.
All right, so I'm gonna try to hold it up again and try to look even closer than I did before, and see if the light source gets sucked out. But yeah, I would have traced it. I would have traced all the circles.
Yeah.
So does it?
So it does it. So basically, it seems as though it does, draw the stormlight out of his mark as well. But in this case, as you can see, what it does is it seems to be like going into it actually seems to be filling it in even more so as it goes kind of towards the center. Why don't you roll for me a deduction check.
Okay. $18.
So the one thing that you're actually able to reveal is that the lines actually are stylized like numerals, so kind of like the things 1 through 7.
Except they're not in order.
What's that?
Except they're not in order.
So what's that?
It doesn't look like anyways. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, it's and so kind of like seeing that, it actually seems as though basically what it looks like looks like it's an old phrase. So the idea being is that the phrase is life before death,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
strength before weakness, and journey before destination. So knowing that you've heard this before and you kind of see these glyphs play out, what do you do to?
Since nothing felt like it pressed in, I would probably trace the life symbol first, and then death, and follow the something before something, something before something, something before something. So I would, yeah.
Okay.
But I would probably do them in the order they appear, but do the before and then the after. The before, then the after. Does that make sense?
So basically, life before death.
Yeah.
Strength before weakness.
Yes.
Okay.
So if that doesn't work, I would do the 3 befores first.
Okay. So what you see is, as you do it that life before, the first way that you had suggested, you kind of trace each of the glyphs in that order. You see that the light spren, which has kind of been dancing around, kind of playfully around you, actually goes into the pedestal. And at that moment, you see that the pedestal fades. And so the golden light of the strange spren seems to infuse the pedestal. And on one side of the pedestal, a compartment slides out of the stone. Inside the drawer is a bracelet and 2 rings linked by metallic chains. Though the gemstones are cracked, the metal is untarnished. This is no mere jewelry. It is a priceless artifact of the Vorin Church, a soul caster, capable of transforming any substance to another with a touch.
Would I recognize that right away?
Yes.
I'd excitedly call over Brightness Matal. I'm sure she wasn't. She was probably right over my shoulder, but in my excitement, I call her over.
Okay. And she is like, so she looks at the soulcaster, and her eyes just widen, and she's like, "What? This is a huge discovery." And then she kind of like glances over her shoulders to see what Captain Selenar is doing, and he's just kind of like, he's over there, and he's in pain, so he's just kind of resting against the side of the wall. And she's like, I can't believe we found this, but
I take off my pack and start putting it inside my pack.
okay.
With her permission. I mean, I'll glance at her. You know what I mean? The less we say, the less it looks like we're conspiring against everyone.
Sure. So while you're doing that, Brent, how exactly are you spending your time as the two archaeologists are plundering history?
I mean, we're resting during this time, right? They're doing this while we're resting.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in a corner by myself, pretty much. I'm kind of keeping an eye on them just to make sure, but other than that, I'm just kind of laying there, back against some stone feature.
Sure. So why don't you go ahead, as you're kind of looking around and everything like that, and you're kind of just resting. Why don't you give me a perception check?
One sec. I rolled a 19 plus 1, so I rolled a 20.
Woohoo! Perfect. So, as you had kind of like you'd finished up resting as these two were doing their thing, and as you look around the room, you do see that it looks as though there are two exits that you can tell. One basically looks like it would be to your north, and the other one would be to your south, so kind of opposite ends of the rooms. And you said you rolled a 20? Okay. So what you see is that it actually seems as though, as you're kind of examining the room, you can see the signs that other people have been here and actually have been here recently. You kind of notice that the dust on the floor and wall is much more disturbed as it goes to that northern exit.
Okay. When I notice that after looking around for a little while, I'll actually get up and I'll go over to Matal and her apprentice and tell them that it seems like, in looking around the room, it looks like people have been here, so we might want to start moving soon.
Okay. Obviously her excitement is dulled by the fact that other people could be coming to this site at any time. She goes, I agree. Captain Selenar. And he kind of like looks up just angry. He's like, what? They say that there's been other people here. We should get moving. And he's like, I've been saying that for the last however long. Let's go. And he's like, and he goes over to Varda and he kind of like smacks Varda on the shoulder and he says, good, move you oaf. And Varda obviously starts moving ahead of him. He's still looking daggers at you, Brent, just so you know.
That's okay. I give Varda another look. Make sure that he's thinking about what I said before.
Varda's kind of like, he kind of wonders, is he supposed to, are you giving him the look like stab him in the back or?
If I thought that would work, yes, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm just telling him to keep in mind that he should consider his own safety over the safety of the captain, because he'll sacrifice all of us to get out of here. Just like I said back when we were looking at the bodies.
Okay. All right. So basically, as you guys go, like I said, there were two seeming exits from this room, one being the north exit, one being the south exit, kind of opposite ends. With everything that you've seen, it seems as though, like I said, a lot more of the dirt was disturbed towards the north exit. How do you plan on exiting the room?
I let Batal I let her decide which way we're going, and I just follow their lead. If you're asking me, unless you're asking Jeff.
I'm asking both of you to see if you present any strong arguments one way or the other.
I mean, I suppose we'd have the discussion. The exit with people possibly presents help, and also possibly presents further peril. But one probably goes up on one side of the chasm, and one goes up on the other side. So,
well, and at that, Matal says maybe the scouts came in here, and maybe there's still scouts in the nearby area. Maybe they could help us.
Maybe, or don't the ruins get loot? Do the ruins get looters? Like, is that something that happens? Or traveling tribes, anything?
Possibly. I mean, the Shattered Plains right now seem to, and just from my own limited understanding, well, it's not impassable. It's just that the most common people you see in this area are the Parshendi, aka the listeners and singers people, the ones that are fighting the Alethi. And so,
right. So chances are it's them. It's the Parshendi that's in here.
So there's an equal likelihood, as far as you know, that it could be either Alethi or
maybe we should go to the south and see what happens. We'll be able to see across the chasm, and if it looks like they're friendly, we could come back down and go back up. But if it looks like they are, Parshendi and mean to do us harm, we can probably sneak away without getting caught. Maybe.
Okay.
Sure. We make appropriate tactical decisions.
So
maybe I don't. This one feels like a coin flip.
So as you guys are discussing, you do see a kind of a green wind spread going towards the south, and then it kind of like goes up that way and kind of vanishes into the ether.
Would that seem like a good omen?
It would.
I call that out. That I just saw a wind spread go up the south tunnel, or go up the south exit.
Well, and Captain Selenar says, "That finally some good luck here." And then he kind of pokes at Varda, and he goes,
"Decision made."
He pokes. He looks at you, Palinor, and he says, "Lead the way."
Okay, I do.
Okay. So going up the way there, let's see. So this is a pretty narrow path. It looks like it's fairly rubble choked, meaning that you're going to have to squeeze through some spots and everything like that. However, it does terminate. Unfortunately, it doesn't terminate on the plateau itself, but it terminates on a ledge just below it. The good news is that it's a fairly easy climb up to the plateau from there. So when you get outside, though, and Brent, I assume you're going to climb up to the top of the plateau when you get outside.
Yeah, I'll climb up there. Just
okay,
to check it out.
So the first thing you notice, kind of almost immediately there, is that you actually see. Let me get this going here. You do see that you're not the only ones there, and you see what would be a couple of Parshendi war forms and a couple nimble forms, kind of loitering about. They look like they've set up a temporary camp there. I do think that the Parshendi war form look pretty badass. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I'm rooting for them. I'm sorry.
So they haven't like seen us or anything.
They haven't seen you at this point. So I'd like to kind of get an idea as to what you're doing, how you're acting, et cetera, et cetera.
And their camp is basically like right in front of where we need to go.
It's on the plateau, but it's actually looks like it's closer to where you estimate the other entrance would have come out.
Okay. So once I notice them, I kind of duck down and try and keep quiet so that they don't notice me. And I'm going to go back down and tell them we need to go out that way quietly because there is a war party nearby.
Okay. So there you need to go out this way quietly and then try to sneak by them, or
I thought you said they were on the other side, so we didn't have to go past them.
oh, I mean, right now they don't see you, but they look like they're they look like they're where you
They look like they're where
the other entrance.
Yeah, the
would have
other
gone out.
entrance where the north side would have come out.
Yeah.
It's apparently not on the other side of the chasm, like I assumed.
Nope. Same plateau.
Right, same plateau, but you're saying you're saying there's two exits, right?
Mm-hmm. And they are near the other exit, whereas
they're near the north exit.
I
We're
came
on the
out.
South exit, but you can see them. You
Right.
can see them from the south exit.
But we can come out the south exit and go away from them, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So that's what I will suggest we
Yeah.
do.
I just wanted to clarify because it sounded like you were like, let's go back out the other way.
No, that's not what I guess
Sorry.
I was confused about how. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
we're gonna go
a little bit.
I'm gonna go down, grab them, and have them come out this exit, and tell them we have to sneak, so because they can see us, and then go the opposite direction of them, so we can try and get someplace safe.
Okay. So are you going to be doing a little bit of sneaking? I'm excited.
Sure.
So stealth. Stealth is a skill that you're going to have to use, and it's going to be against. What's interesting is it's kind of against their spiritual thing. That's kind of their spiritual defense. I thought that was kind of an interesting rule to have because each of your character sheets has different defense numbers, and they roll against your spiritual defense when doing stealth, I guess.
Well, I mean, that makes sense compared to the other. It's not physical and it's not cognitive would make sense too, I guess.
Yeah. So I think it's just awareness of your being and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, since awareness is under spiritual, that makes some sense. Sure.
Yep. So why don't you go ahead and roll for me some stealth checks?
I roll bad.
It's not maybe horrible. It's not good.
It's a 7. It's pretty bad.
It's not great.
Hey,
cool.
Yeah, I got a 7 too.
So
hey, be quiet.
So we're definitely not doing this quietly.
So basically, what you can imagine happens is that you're like as you kind of get to the ledge, you see the small war party over there, and you're like, okay, everybody, be quiet. And then, like, almost simultaneously, as you and Jeff kind of like turn to the side, you step on rocks that just go clattering down the side of the chasm, immediately drawing their attention. I'm going to give you an option at this point. What is your immediate reaction to this sudden betrayal to your location?
Well, I suggest we get somewhere where we can fight them because they're going to be coming after us.
Well, the problem is the stairway is the most defensible, but they can just go down their exit and come behind.
I'm suggesting we get somewhere outside. We're already outside. We should get to a place in the plateau where we can be defensible. Not back down in the cavern.
Yeah, you're the soldier, so you're gonna have to look and see if there's any place that's closer than they can get to us from.
But what I'm saying I'm saying that to Mike is we're going. Yeah. That's the intent, Mike. Is that we're fine? Mm-hmm. I'm going to
get
find
the rest of the people up off of the ledge.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as you kind of get your people out and kind of get yourself into a better position, you see that obviously if you hadn't made their notice before, you see that one of the nimble form scouts kind of sees you, and of course the war form. You see, there's one Malin and one female, and I think that's how you pronounce those. They seem like they're getting ready, and they kind of surprised at the sudden appearance of other people on the plateau. But you see one of them kind of command, "Stop! Give up anything you've taken." kind of it rings out across the plateau.
Oh, I say we haven't taken anything. We were trapped in the chasm and we're just trying to get out.
Okay. And so you basically see that them kind of standing just like trapped in the chasm and just happened to find a place, a venerable place to our people. Doubtful. Tomb robbers. Can you try to roll a persuasion check for me?
Yeah.
Oh, your persuasion should be good, right?
That's 3.
Kind of.
It would be better if I was. Be better if I was leadershiping them.
Okay.
Oh no, that's about the worst thing I could roll. I rolled a 4. That's a 1 plus 3.
Wow.
So there you go. There you go.
So she seems to stand her ground, and you can tell that the other nimble form kind of spreads out to the side, and the 2 war forms seem like they're taking a kind of a, they're not aggressive, but they're definitely posturing and in a way that could lead to aggression very quickly. You see Captain Selenar, and he's just like, and he would use the appropriate explicative, whatever that may be in this case, and he's just like, there's, and he kind of like looks at Varda, and he's like, Varda, get ready. Do you do anything to stop Mr. opting for violence?
Is there any sort of like gesture, like, you know, like we have, like, you know, kind of hands up kind of thing?
I would like to use my leadership skill and tell Varda, we're outnumbered. I'm the only one with a weapon. There is no way we are going to survive this if we fight them. We have to try and talk them out of this conflict.
Okay, why don't you roll for me a leadership roll?
Yeah, let's see that.
And Jeff,
and I kind of try and remind him what I told him earlier, that Selenar will sell us all just to try and get away. So, but yeah, I rolled like shit. I rolled 11.
Okay. And so Selenar kind of barks at you. He's like, you're not the one in command here. I am. You will follow my orders. And you can tell that
he's going to get us killed, Varda. All of us. He's going to get all of us killed.
So
what
is your, like, what are you implying maskedly? Because Varda, he's
I tell him this is a fight we can't win. And if Selenar, and if he starts to lose, he's going to escape while we give our lives for it. That is his intent. And that's what I tell him.
He kind of looks at Selenar, and you could tell, like, there's a lot of computations going on in Varda's brain right now. If you tried to impress upon him through your coded language, like, one thing that you would want him to do, what would you think he should do?
I'm not saying that codedly. I just blatantly said that.
No, but I'm just saying, like, what kind of action would you want him to do?
I want him to not be ready to fight them. I want to try and talk to them first. Like, I don't want him to be aggressive towards them.
So, okay. Well, so in this case, what would he do? Well, that is a good question, because And what did you roll on your
I'm
leadership?
11.
11. Yeah. Because
Unless
that
you
was
want to
the
give me,
leader.
unless you want to give me advantage on it because I've been working on him the whole time.
Well, because that because you were because the 11 was to try to get Captain Selenor to stand down and be a normal human.
No, the 11
11.
was to get
Oh, Varda. Oh yeah.
Varda to
roll
stand
roll
down.
advantage on. I'm sorry. I thought you were doing that on Selenor.
Because I don't think I can talk Selenor into anything. Watch me roll. Oh, I rolled 17 that time.
Okay. So kind of seeing the situation and not really knowing what the best.
I mean, if anyone but if anyone with just me and the captain had a weapon, I might suggest otherwise. And I'm acting like I don't know you have a weapon. I might suggest otherwise, but there's no way we can fight them with just us. And we're outnumbered, right? Like we saw there's a camp of them, right?
There's 2 war forms and 2 nimble forms, so there's 4 total.
There's 4.
There's still 4.
4 with weapons, and we have 2 with weapons. Unless Brightness Metal has something surprising.
2 scholars, a guy that's going to run away, and a guy with his fists, and a guy with a broken leg.
So then I'll give the decision to you. How would you think Varda would try to diffuse the situation with Captain Selenor? Do you think he would talk? Do you think he would knock him out? Like, what do you think?
I don't know what Varda would do. I don't know anything about his character other than he's followed orders up until this point. And he's kind of selfish. So maybe he'd try to knock him out.
So he basically at this point, since you're kind of talking to Varda,
he has a mental break and just runs away. Just flees, just runs towards the end.
Turns and runs off the edge of the chasm.
Yeah.
He basically like goes and he just kind of like he cracks Captain Selenor on the back of the head, like just wham, in an effort to knock him out, which it does seem as though he does, surprising everybody, Brightness Metal and everything.
And I tell Valinor he made the right decision.
Varda,
sorry, yeah, Varda. I tell him he made the right decision. We have to try and end this without violence.
It's like,
I mean, any more violence, as I look down at the captain.
He's like, so you can obviously tell that action put the Parshendi on a little bit of an alert. What do you like? So what? So
we offer them a captain. We offer them a captain prisoner if they let us go. No, I don't do that. I look towards Brightness to see if she has anything she could say to them. Since
I look at her too and try to get her attention and look down at my back and look at my backpack to see if we should.
But
her and I are the only ones that know it exists at this moment. But if stop us and search us.
Well, I just keep trying to talk to them and let them know. Like, I'm talking the whole time after the violent episode in the inter-party.
Yeah, we were a bridge party. We were attacked by chasm fiends.
Exactly. I tell them there's a chasm fiend. We were a few days away. We were on our way
no food
somewhere. I don't tell them we were on our way to these ruins. I tell them we were somewhere.
We're coming here to loot.
Yeah. I tell them we were going somewhere else, and there was a chasm fiend that wrecked our bridge. We fell in the chasm. We have no resources. We were just trying to get out. We were basically following the chasm to the end because we couldn't go back the way that the chasm fiend was. And we found this and thought we could get up. And that's
okay.
Basically what I'm trying to
about your friend that got knocked out that was advocating violence.
I just don't say anything about him unless they ask questions.
Okay. You're running the show.
So
and then I look to Brightness to add something if her and her infinite wisdom can add something.
She kind of like she actually stays quiet in this situation. She looks like she's really scared. standing behind you, Jeff. She, you can tell that she's not used to being in this kind of situation, and she doesn't know what to do. But it does seem as though the one that spoke to you, the nimble form, she's just like, you're not worth it. Take your fallen man and go.
I suggest that he tie him up, and then I'll sling him over my shoulder, and we'll carry him off. We'll leave. Yeah, I'll sling him over my shoulder, and we'll leave.
Okay, so you tie him up. You tie him up hog tie. Just hands and feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case he wakes up. I mean, I'll untie him once we get out of here.
Okay. So
I give Varen. Why do can't I remember Varda? I give Varda his sword. I can remember the V, but I can't remember anything else. I give Varda his sword and ask him to carry it.
Sure. Yeah, you can definitely see that as soon as she said that to you guys, you can hear the warriors basically yelling at her that they shouldn't allow the group shouldn't allow them to leave alive. But you can tell that she's silencing them, seeing how absolutely harmless you guys are as a group. Best not to stain the honor and everything like that. And Brent, because you actually have listener languages, you understand this exchange happening behind the scenes. It does seem as though one of the warriors might be persuading her to change her mind, but she is staying fairly steadfast in her decision to let you leave, considering she doesn't believe you've looted the ruins or anything, that you're just bypassers.
Idiot survivors. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I'm good with that.
Yeah. So
do I speak their language, right? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this isn't bad. I do tell her thank you in their language as we're leaving. I yell it back to them as we're leaving.
Okay. She looks up in surprise. She didn't expect you to have taken the time to learn anything about their language and culture, and you can see it in her face a lot more than you can see it in the heavily carapaced.
The murdery one. Yeah.
The murdery ones. Yeah, they're a little harder to read with all those hard chitinous shells and everything. Okay, so yeah, so you can tell, and it looks like as you start making your way back west, you feel like it's going to be a long hike. After about 15 minutes of walking, you feel the shudder of Captain Selenor coming to and everything like that.
Okay, and I sling him down and we cut him loose, and I say, "Hey, we got you out of there alive, just like you asked, like you ordered." That's what I tell him.
He goes for his sword, Brent.
From Varen or from
Varda, and Varda doesn't resist him taking it, and he goes to strike at you.
Okay, well, fight back.
Prepare for combat. So I think it would be fun to kind of explain combat in Cosmere, because they do have different combat things and everything like that, because there is turn phases. Do you guys remember the turn phases from what we discussed before? So basically there is a combat sequence that there is a fast PC turn, but when you take a fast PC turn, you only get 2 actions. Right. Then there's a slow turn. So there's fast, slow, and the second of each one is always the NPC. So technically you guys get advantage by always having the option to go first. It does look as though Varda is not going to, not going to engage in this. So it's kind of just you and the captain. I seem to have a moth in here. Where'd you come from, buddy?
Okay. Well, I'll let him go first because he attacked us.
So you're going to take a slow PC turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And hopefully I don't die.
Do you want to see do you want to see the rolls? I've been rolling everything lately, so I might as well just do it like how I have been doing it. So
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, he rolled a 17. I believe that's enough to hit.
Can I use my predict talent?
My physical defense is 15 for the record.
Okay, so yeah, that would be enough to hit. You can use your predict talent. Now, your predict talent, just for anybody that's not sure, is you make a deduction test against the target's cognitive defense. You have an advantage on this test. On success, you actually predict the immediate actions. And so you would have advantage on reactive strikes.
Okay, so he would actually have to move out of Brent's general area, right, for him to get a reactive strike. If he ever does that, I'm going to use my predict talent. Okay.
Okay.
That's all.
All it says is your my long spear makes it harder for enemies to maneuver around me.
Mm-hmm. I think what that means is that if he tries to leave, you actually get an opportunity style attack at an even greater distance. So like you threaten far more squares if we were to use a tactical grid.
I think it actually means I threaten if they move. Like it is an attack of opportunity. Like if they try to move through my square to somebody else or something like that. I think.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So like for example, instead of just having like a 5-foot square around you, you have a 10-foot square, which is kind of cool. It makes you have a very large area that you defend, which is kind of neat.
And the deflect of my breastplate just is counted in my AC, right?
No. So there's a
I have a deflect of 2.
Yeah, so there's a okay, let me see if I remember what's going on here now.
And the only reason
I wasn't trying to make this more
because it just says breastplate deflect 2 included. So
I thought with the deflect, what it did is so deflect is, let's see, when an enemy succeeds on an attack against you, the damage from that attack generally reduces your health. However, armor or other effects can grant you a deflect value that reduces impact, keen, and energy damage by that amount. So in this case, since you have a deflect value of 2, you would take 6 keen damage at this point.
Okay.
Ouch.
I have 7 hit points left, so he may kill me.
Okay. So go ahead and
hit him back.
Do what you'd like to do. Whatever you'd like to do in this point.
An attack roll is my heavy weapons.
So in this case, the nice thing is on your character sheet, it actually does all that for you with your equipment. You'll see that you have like
where
on your long spear it says +5 versus physical.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's already calculated it for you.
Okay. So rolling.
Oh, and the other thing is the one thing that you can do is that it's a defensive weapon. It means that you can take the brace action. So you can use an action to give all attacks targeting you disadvantage. Just as a heads up.
But I would have to do that instead of attacking this turn, right?
I actually don't think so. I think because you have 3 actions this turn, you could do if my understanding is correct of the combat, you would have.
So I can attack, then brace after.
I believe that would be correct because you would have your attack, which would be 1 action. Then we'd do a brace as another action, and then you could possibly move. And remember, since you can't do the same thing twice,
right?
Yeah. I guess technically, because if you have 3 actions, and since we're kind of futzing around with combat right now, I mean, you could technically you can do gain advantage by using one of your skills to gain advantage of your opponent, such as through clever tactics, unexpected feints, or superior strength. So you could basically roll a skill to try to get advantage on your attack, and then you could brace if you didn't choose to move or anything like that.
I'm just going to attack and then brace for now, and then I'll think on the skill bit.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just because we haven't really done combat, there's just a lot of ways you can kind of twist these things a little bit. Okay. Go ahead and roll for me some dice.
I rolled shitty.
You did. Okay.
So now I'll brace.
Okay. All right.
So since I saw him strike, could I use predict?
Mm-hmm.
So he has disadvantage on his next attack.
Oh, and I have advantage because the target's already acted this round. So the first time was an 11. The second time was a 9. I got an 11, so I don't think that beats his cognitive defense, is my guess, but
It does not.
okay.
Okay.
Shall I square off with him with my spear?
All right. Just a second. Okay, so he's going to choose fast NPC. So what would you want to do? Would you want to do fast PC or fast or slow PC?
I'll let him go first again.
Okay.
He's going to get disadvantage this time.
Since he has disadvantage this time, I'll let him go first again.
Okay.
Come on, Palinor.
So what he's going to do is he's going to... Is there not a...
I'm trying to be defensive because it'll be a lot easier to explain that the captain attacked me and people witnessed it. So...
Yeah. No, I get you. I'm just trying to see. It does... it seems as though you have a shove option, but it doesn't seem as though you can necessarily move them prone like that. So it's an interesting... I was just trying to see if that would do that. So he's going to basically try to get in really close with you, effectively trying to like bowl you over. You can definitely see that, you know, that he relies on his he's a fairly strong individual, so he's trying to kind of keep in close within your spear's range and everything like that. Noticing that you've taken quite the defensive stance with it, he's going to attempt to gain advantage, and then he's going by using athletics, and then he's going to strike you to try to nullify your advantage that way. So oops, that doesn't... I don't know what I just did there. Let me
go ahead and re-roll it. Yeah, whatever.
I don't know what that was. Let's see. That does not look as though that would pass your physical defense. So he does not gain advantage, so he's going to roll with disadvantage. He hits on an 18 with disadvantage.
Yep.
So he does another 6 points of damage to you.
All right.
Basically, you can see that Captain... It does look as though Captain Selenar is taking advantage and pressing his attack against Brent Jeff, and it looks as though... even though Brent is is an accomplished spearman, Captain Selenar seemed very well versed in combat. Brent's turn this round, though.
Yeah, I'm going to attack him, and then well, I'm going to do... So I guess I'll do the same thing he did. Use my athletics to push him away because I'm fairly strong too. And then try and gain advantage for hitting him the next time.
Okay, I wonder if there's a way to like push him back 5 feet and then force him to move to engage. I wonder if that's how the spears are really good.
Probably. Like they probably have to. It depends. In old D&D, like if they were 5 feet away and they went within a reach weapon, they had to like do a move which took them an action, versus just being able to move, because otherwise you'd get an attack of opportunity. But anyways, here's my athletics. I rolled shitty, so I don't get advantage, I assume.
We're nice rolls this session, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So my character's not going to give up, so he can go ahead and kill me.
All right, I'm going to try to predict, Mike. what he's going to do?
He's going to go in for the kill. Like Captain Selenar is going to try to kill him at this point.
Then I'm going to charge in with the pain reel and attack Selenar.
Okay.
I got a 20.
So you're going to go fast first. So 1 and 1. Wow, good work.
I'll go fast this time since I'm almost dead too. So we're all
Okay.
three of us going fast. What does that mean?
So so you guys go fast first, and technically we should have sorted this out before we start rolling. But technically, you guys go. You guys.
No,
would
I
go
thought
fast.
I thought I could go, since I was sort of tertiarily involved. I thought I was coming in at the end of that.
Oh
round
no,
of
no,
combat.
no! You would go.
Yeah, you can't do that
because
Okay, I'll come
NPCs
in
go
on the new one.
last. Yeah, you'd go. You
Okay.
can go first as the fast PC.
Okay.
So you both can go in that fast one. You would just decide who goes first.
Yeah, I would like to go first in the fast one if that's okay with you, Brent.
Yeah, I'll let him go first.
Okay.
I hit him with the pain reel. It does 8 damage. And I'm going to spend 3 charges to do an additional 9 damage. So I'm going to do 17 damage to him.
Wait, what?
I hit him.
Yeah, I see that.
It does 1d6 plus 3 vital damage. And then I can spend, I have 3 charges in it. I can spend on a hit, I can spend charges to deal an additional 3 damage per charge spent. So I'm going to blow off all 3 since he almost killed Palinor and did kill the other guy. So I'm hitting him for 17 damage.
You 100% catch him off guard. You also catch Varda off guard. And Brightness Mattel and everyone, because you just leapt in there and literally I mean, you basically came in there, and I think the pain rails, the way to describe them is kind of like it's like a shock or something like that. Is that a fair way?
I believe so. Yeah.
And you deal a tremendous amount of pain. Like he just body seizes up and he screams. He was so surprised by it, he didn't even get a chance to like scream how much of a B word that he thought you were being for stabbing him in the back. But he falls to the ground, obviously dead. That kind of came out of nowhere.
Good job.
I wasn't just going to watch Palinor die.
No, that's good. And you can actually see, that wind spren that you saw earlier go out the south way, kind of rematerialize, kind of swirl around your head before flying off in the direction of the west. Palinor, so you saw Zavinda kind of come out like a feral cat, and I guess, I don't know, just out of nowhere, zap Captain Selenar.
I kind of just collapsed, so I'm gonna say I didn't see it.
he just fell down.
I have 1 hit point left, so.
Ooh, yeah, it doesn't take much to do a lot of damage in this.
No, we need to rest, but
okay. So so Varda, obviously seeing the tides change, goes to you, Brent, and offers to help you up.
Yeah, I take his hand and stand up.
Yeah, and he tries to help you get up and everything like that. Obviously, he's hitching his wagon to a different horse right now. And Doral looks at you, Zavinda, and he says, If you need me to, I can make sure his body disappears.
I look at Brightness Mattel and I say that may be for the best.
Well, and so
I suggest we just leave it. I mean, he's a murderer and an attempted murderer. We're not going to take his body back.
Brightness Mattel kind of like, she waves away your suggestion, and she says, "No, the bridgeman will take care of it. Bridgman, we appreciate your hard work in this endeavor. And then she starts walking away.
How's he going to do it with a broken leg? He's going to die out here with a broken leg.
Maybe.
At this point, I'm hurt, so I shrug and I just
I'm gonna try to
follow Matal.
We should do a rest though. I mean,
okay.
At some point, just try to
I suggest we get a little bit farther away from this area, and then we'll do it.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys, as you get a little farther away and you leave Bridgman Doral in the back, hopefully to his freedom, but at least his fate is his own at this point.
I would follow Matal.
Yeah, you get some rest to kind of recover a little bit and tend to your wounds, and not long after, you finally approach your destination, the war camps. You see that the war camps are built into a series of 10 craters at the edge of the Shattered Plains. And each war camp houses the armies of the Alethi High Princes. Each war camp houses the armies of an Alethi High Prince. And the war camp for High Prince Sadis sits between the camps for Roland and Aladar at the southwestern end of the Alethi settlement. And of course, as you kind of get closer, you see the, Chol-drawn wagons moving between the craters, patrols out on horseback. And scouts that as they pick you up, they see your surprising condition, but welcome you back to the camps. So this is where you would kind of end, and of course transition to a longer campaign if you chose to kind of start there from the Shattered Plains and everything like that. According to this, you guys would get to second level, so you could kind of see what second level was like and everything like that. But congratulations, you made it.
I don't get to find out if Brightness Matal disowned.
What's that?
I don't get to find out if Brightness Matal. You're no longer my student.
No. No.
It's okay. Just like I'm no longer part of the military. Yeah. Gotcha.
I think you are.
Not when I tell them everything.
Oh, you're gonna tell them. I love it. No, that's good. That's good. Honestly, that was good. Honestly, it was a fun little story.
It was fun.
Yeah, you guys threw me for a loop when you didn't fight Captain Selenor right out of the gate. So I thought I'd give Brent a chance to make things right. And
it was I wasn't gonna watch him die though. I'd already watched one person die. I mean, I was being chased by a chasm fiend at the time, so I didn't have a lot of choice.
Yeah, we didn't really have a lot we could do in that case.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I figured it was between them, but I wasn't going to watch Palinor die. That just was not what was going to happen.
No, that was good. That was good. And honestly, I think it feels like the combat in this is far more dangerous than I was expecting it to be for some reason. And it might just be that you guys are level 1, and so there's that level 1 really spiky.
Yeah.
You get hit with a sword, you're dead.
Well, if we roll like shit the entire time, that's one thing.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Monk. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Monk.
Monk.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out.
And hanging out with us. Oh.
Jeff. It looks like
I think I hit something.
You did. You accidentally deleted all of Jeff's Monk.
I hit his stuff. I'm sorry, Monk. That was user error on my phone.
I was like, what is happening here?
I don't know what I did, but Monk, I'm sorry.
Oh, view deleted.
Oh, I can. Yeah, I just hid them. Are they coming back?
I don't know. They all got deleted on accident.
Yeah, it says message deleted by Rollwise.
Oh man,
hang on, I can figure it out.
So Jeff, no more moderation activity for you, Jeff.
I hit it, then I unhit it, then I.
Can we see your messages?
Here, I can see it.
At least we can see you now. At least we can see you.
Yeah, it's just all of a sudden
You've gotten pulled into our technical problems, Monk. Congratulations.
It's way too late for me to be pushing random spots on the phone and not fully paying attention. So I am sorry. That was
I don't even
intentional mea culpa.
Yep, I don't know how to undelete things, so I can see them as deleted.
I can see them. I can see them on my phone. I can still view them. And
yeah, it says view deleted messages. So.
But it looks like he can. It looks like he can.
But as long as we can see you now, that's
now. Yeah. I'm sorry.
We appreciate you, and we're sorry.
Yeah, it's later for them than it is for me. So I totally understand that's what could happen. But no, Monk, we appreciate it. Yeah, that was fun. Hopefully, you guys that you guys enjoyed the story of Bridgenine. It has a lot of potential for a good starting adventure for Cosmere. I do feel like I still was a little on my heels trying to understand like how to inject more Roshar into the game and make it feel like Roshar for people that don't know anything about Roshar. Like none of us knew anything about Roshar, so it was like
the Sprens were interesting. That was an interesting thing.
Yeah, the Sprens were interesting. Yeah, I don't know how to make it feel more like it because I don't have any more knowledge of Roshar than you do. So.
Well, I have no suggestions for that.
The good news is, from your perspective, I made it feel exactly like Roshar.
Yes, you did.
Oh, of course. Then
from my perspective, it was the most Roshar thing I've ever experienced in my life. Perfect.
Yeah, there was no errors whatsoever. It was 100% Roshar. But to the more cultured fan, I don't know, maybe the Bright Eyes, he wouldn't have got his hands dirty fighting you guys. I don't know. I mean, the fact that the Alethi have these thrill berserkers makes it seem like they're pretty bloodthirsty.
No, I think it was good. I think it went well.
It was a nice story that wasn't all just combat, right? Like there was
very minimal combat.
Yeah, it was actually fairly minimal, right?
Yeah, we only fought once.
So you can fight a lot more in that, which is interesting. And so obviously you could fight the Chasm Fiend. That ends poorly. No rolls needed.
I don't feel like you can fight that means you can't fight the Chasm.
That means you're just giving up. You're like, I'm never getting out of this chasm, so I might as well feed him now.
Well, but it's always nice because I feel like, Brent, you've commented on this before, is that as soon as you add a stat block to a monster, like that monster becomes huntable or whatever.
Yeah, it becomes something you can kill. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like it when monsters are just more part of the scenery and like an obstacle to get around than something you just need to fight. Because
it's like the D20 version of Call of Cthulhu when it came out. It was like Cthulhu had a stat block. And it was like, oh, adventurers are gonna go and try and hunt down Cthulhu. Whereas in like Delta Green, Cthulhu doesn't have a stat block. And if you see Cthulhu and the first thing that's going to happen is you're probably going to fail your sanity roll and your brains are going to melt. So no stat block needed.
But then of course, after that, if you happen to retain your sanity, you just typically run away. There's not like like you don't get in a boxing match with Cthulhu and go.
Right. He just tears you in half and then moves on. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like there was because I think AD&D was really bad about this, trying to stat out all their major like S-tier villains, because they were like, oh, well, this guy is a demigod and he's a level 20 warrior with 2 levels of wizard.
They statted out everything. Yeah. They statted out all the heroes and stuff like that. The one thing that the reason that they did that in AD&D is because the gods had physical avatars. So like they could in theory be fought. Like their actual god forms, you couldn't fight.
Yeah. It's true, but
so like what could happen in a high level adventure is you could kill the avatar of Bane in Forgotten Realms, but then you have an omnipotent god that's really mad at you, that's throwing all of his entire church at you until he can manifest again.
Yeah. And there was but then there was also that period of time in which they were all made manifest, like they were physically made manifest, and then that's where some of the gods perished in Forgotten Realms, and that was an interesting time to play through as well, which is great for high level campaigns around them, if you ask me. But it's always been more my dream to play in those campaigns. I just haven't.
I just don't know how interesting they would actually be, but
it depends. I think if anything, it depends on the payoff. If you've been working at it for a year and a half, fighting the incarnation of Bane or Vecna could be really fun. But I don't know. I don't think we've gotten there. And I think at the rate that I give you guys levels, it'd take probably 10 years, 20 years to get to.
All right, you hear it here, folks. Upcoming Roll-Wise Kill God.
I think there's a game for that, isn't there?
I think there is.
Yeah. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I really appreciate everybody sticking around for Cosmere. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
Fun. Thank you, everybody.
I'm kind of sad that I didn't actually back the Kickstarter. Maybe I'll pick it up because
it's still on pre-order. I think early pre-order. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I might pick it up for myself as an early Christmas gift. Just not tell Kelly about it. My wife.
You just publicly stated that for the record.
Yeah.
At least it's buried 2 hours into an episode.
Yeah, she'd have to be really interested in the episode for her to get this far. My crime is hidden. Let's just say hidden in plain sight.
I'm not. I promise I won't put on the. I promise I won't put on the thumbnail. Mike is buying.
Even after I told you not to back anything else this year, backed another project. Actually, I did see something, and this is totally non sequitur, but maybe I don't know. It's a good segue into. I just saw that Chaosium is going to release a reissue of ElfQuest. Did you guys see that?
Wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like I was going through my email, and they're planning on doing a Kickstarter for it in October. I think is God is what I want to say, but where was that at? Oh my God,
I don't know. I didn't hear about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have too many updates in my thing to be able to.
That's okay.
List.
Maybe we can cover some upcoming Kickstarters.
Yeah, we're chatting next week. So
yeah, so maybe that's what we'll do, because I saw that ElfQuest thing and I was like, I remember reading the ElfQuest. I remember reading those comic books back in the day, and I think they were weren't they 80s or were they 90s? And when they were,
I thought it was 90s. I don't. Maybe Brent's right.
Maybe late 80s, early 90s. Maybe they straddled the area there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was just one of those Kickstarters I hadn't actually anticipated seeing, and it's my understanding it's done by a person who'd done some other reissues like RuneQuest or something like that. I just got a
World. It's sometime in October, and it would be the 40th anniversary. So actually, it would be mid 80s. It would be 84. So Brent was right.
Wow.
Yeah, earlier 80s than I thought. So you were. Yeah. We'll say you were right, Jeff.
So
I said 90s.
Oh.
You win.
I thought you said 80s, and I said 90s.
No, you said 80s.
Oh, and here it is. So Chaosium's president Rick Mintz, who has led similar reissue Mintz? I don't know. I'm sorry, Rick. I apologize about that. Has led similar reissue projects such as Call of Cthulhu Classic, RuneQuest Classic, and will oversee ElfQuest reissue, and stated the following, etc., etc. We can talk about that later, but I just wanted to post that, as well as be really excited for anybody that follows us. We talked about the Electric State how long ago? A year ago now?
Yeah, it was a little over a year ago, because it was that was when it was
kickstarted.
Right? Kickstarters take a long time to deliver, man.
This doesn't feel that long though, and I'm actually pretty excited.
No, this is actually quick. I didn't expect to get it until next year.
Yeah. So anybody that is follows us knows that we do like our share of free league games. And so now that we have the Electric State, and I'm sorry for the glare, but
yeah, this is one that I've really been interested in. So
yeah, I feel like if there's because I thought there was a music component for like a road playlist or something like that. I don't think that we can. I don't think we can play my favorite music. I'll just have to say what the music is playing in the background for the ambiance or whatever it is. But that's close enough, right?
It is. Tell people they can go look up the. You can find the song here, or the song will be in the show notes.
Yeah, something like that. If you want to listen along, here's our Spotify playlist. That could be kind of fun to make a Spotify playlist and have that be the playlist that goes along with it. If my memory serves, it's been a long time since I read kind of the premise of the game, but I thought that there was music was a component of it. So that's it. That's all we got. So Is anybody still in chat have any questions or anything like that we should answer before we go?
No one's posted anything that I
No,
can see.
I think I scared them. I think they thought if they said anything, I would hide their comments.
You're hyper modding right now. You're just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
Fair enough. So, alrighty, guys. Well, I do appreciate it. Obviously, if you've made it to the end of the show here, we really, really, really appreciate you listening to the entire actual play of our bridgenine adventure. We hope that you enjoy the rest of our actual plays. We've got a bunch of playlists on the channel. So, if you are interested, you can play through our back catalog, and of course, like, subscribe, help us with the algorithm, do all that kind of stuff. And if you're catching this down the road after this is set as a recording, jump in the comments. Let us know how we did. Let us know your questions. And we'll be posting a debrief video, kind of like our thoughts on the series, thoughts on the game, the adventure, all that kind of stuff. So obviously spoilers will be for that second video and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's it. That's what I got. Any closing comments for you guys?
No, that was fun. Check out the Cosmere stuff if you're interested at all. That was kind of fun, doing the character creation, coming up with stuff.
Yep, and we'll be doing a little bit of a wrap up in one of our curated episodes later in the week. So be sure to check that out. Thank you, everybody.
Yep. Take care.
Thanks.
Good night.